Hello viewers, welcome to my Doctor Who themed YouTube channel, Who Ventures, and this is my review of Class Episode 7, and my first remark is, now that's a turn up for the books. It was actually good, because turns out it is the other side of the story in Episode 6, but we follow Quill, who is a lot more interesting. And Quill's story is all about removing the Arn in her head, and the Arn turns out to be like sort of mousy creature with a lot of eyes and things. And the headmistress, with the help from the governors, is trying to get the thing out of Quill's head so she can be free. And I have to say, I love the headmistress. Now, I don't know whether this is another look how cool a female doctor could be kind of thing, but I really liked her. She's sort of like what River Song could have been if River Song hadn't been completely smug idiot. I love the headmistress. I love that when she's in her device, which is sort of like a pocket TARDIS. She has to keep checking the manual and reporting back to the governors. It's really fun. I really enjoyed this episode. So the headmistress has a really nice pocket watch, which it looks really cool. And then there's this prisoner guy, and he's been held prison, and he's called Balon. So her pointy gadget TARDIS thing looks really elegant and cool, so I think that would make a good piece of merchandise. So they're inside this transporter and they land in the alien foresty place, and it's really pretty. And then there's these plants that this headmistress goes near them, they go and hide. And so they start talking about Quill's childhood, and with Quill's race, the mother gives birth to the young, and then the young eat the mother, which I like how they took elements of what happens in nature on Earth to sort of inspire them for that story. And then I loved, wow, what is wrong? Oh, you bought a kitten. He's captured a kitten. And he's like, oh, I love Quill in this, and I love the headmistress. And the birthing grounds of the Arn, and turns out the birthing where they are is what the Arn believe is that their heaven, their paradise. It's all about what the creatures believe is their heaven stuff in this episode. And then it turns out the little transporter gadget is actually the first time the headmistress has used it, which is why she has to check up on Joel. I love it. And the governors monitor the tears in space and time around Coral Hill, and I think that is quite good. And then it turns out Balon is a Zygote, but he's been posing as a Zygon, and he attacked a family. And so they find themselves in the sort of this hell impossible place. And then the headmistress says, here there's a knife, you can go and attack the creature. And then Quill said, I can't use weapons. And the headmistress is like saying, oh yeah, oops. That was a bit of an oversight. And I thought it was really good, but with Balon's help they attack the creature, and the creature is like the first Quill and then the first Quill goddess is born, and then Balon attacks the goddess and cuts down the goddess before the goddess was going to say her first words to Quill, and Quill was really disappointed she didn't hear the first words from her goddess. And then Balon was saying, but then you'd always have to be in worship to her for the rest of her life, and that a goddess is always born. So Balin is helping Quill, and then Balin tells his story that he's neither one thing nor the other, and it's very reminiscent of Balin being sort of Frankenstein creature. So I quite like that. And then Quill, she was in love with someone, but the Voodoo killed him, and but the Voodoo never paid for killing her species and her love. And all her cockiness she puts on her front and shouts to feel powerful. And then the Arn is starting to fight Quill, and then they go back to Coal Hill, and the headmistress is awesome, and she goes to see the governess, and then Balin is like a surgeon, and he's got a huge pointy finger, and he puts it into Quill's eye to get out the Arn, and the Arn comes out, and he heals Quill with the blood of his, what Quill thought of as his devil, and he heals Quill. So they celebrate by snugging and shagging, and then she wakes up and there's some sand, and they go out of the school door and they're in a desert, and it turns out the school was actually a hologram, and they were in the cabinet of souls, that the one that Charlie's keeping locked up, because they needed to be in there in case anything went wrong, apparently. And then the headmistress is saying, but then the headmistress is on the ground and she's leaving. And I don't want the headmistress to leave, because I think she could be a great character in her. I think they should have a spin-off of the spin-off, and just let's follow the headmistress around, because she's way better than the rest of the show. And Quill is awesome. And then the gun is there for Quill, and then the headmistress says there's a Balin relative on Earth, so it's between Quill and Balin about who gets to go back to Earth, and the fight for the gun. Then at the end, Balin shoots the gun, but it goes off back into his face, so I don't know if the headmistress made it so Quill would always get back to Earth, or whether Balin was I thought Balin was just going to shoot himself. So I was a bit confused about that point. That would have been more poignant. And then time passes differently in the cabinet, a bit like when Amy and Rory were aging out of time because of the time they spent in the TARDIS and away from Earth. So that's why Quill's hair is a different length, because she grabs one of the Voodoo souls in anger, and it sort of ages her a bit and her hair grows. So she's now got longer hair and this scar, and she escapes the cabinet and starts saying no more, no more. It's a bit like the War Doctor. And then she gets back to the classroom, and it's the same ending from episode 6 from Quill's point of view. And then she tells Charlie she's free, and then we discover that Quill's pregnant, but who knew, because the young eat the mother, and I don't want Quill to go away, and I want the headmistress back. So I really don't understand the direction of this spin-off. I'm pretty sure we're not meant to think all the other stuff with the kids and us meant to be really shit, and just want the headmistress and Quill, but I do. I just want, can we just scrap all the thing where Coal Hill's been renovated and just go back to original Coal Hill and have the headmistress who's really awesome and Quill, and just scrap the sixth former kids because they're really crap. They're just boring. But so I gave this episode a 4 out of 5 because it was really good and it felt a lot more, it felt proper Doctor Who, like it was proper Doctor Who this episode, whereas all the other episodes so far have just felt like rip-offs of Buffy and stuff, but this felt like a proper Doctor Who episode, so I was very pleased with it. So it got shot up in the ratings, it's gone to 4 out of 5, because, and not to point off, because I'm not sure if the headmistress is coming back, and I'm disappointed if she doesn't come back because she's really cool. So that is my review of Class episode 7, and then we have one more to review, and then yay, we've done the marathon. So I hope you have enjoyed this video, and thank you for watching. Yay.